All right, everybody. So today we are talking about your business model. Now, I'm not necessarily getting into the niches yet. We're going to talk about which niche I think you should get into or how to find your niche. But right now, the business model is just simply what are you going to be doing inside of your business? Of course, me, I go by the vegan trainer. My favorite saying is you too have the right to eat yourself to death or to life. That's one of the things I play off of. Now, when it comes to business model, you have a few things you can choose from. One is high ticket. You can do high ticket coaching. This is something that I've done. This is what Tony Robbins does. This is what a lot of people are doing, high ticket coaching, because it takes a little bit more of your time. And we'll get into each one of these and why I think one is better than the other. So high ticket coaching, of course, can go from $3,000. Okay, for some people I've seen charge $3,000 for like a month. And it can go all the way up to $100,000. Now, of course, people like Tony Robbins are charging $100,000 for a coaching program. That can also take about a month or a week. Next, you go into the middle price programs, which are usually about $250 upwards to about $2,000. This usually is kind of what most trainers do. They do the $250 to $2,000 price range. I'm not the biggest fan of it, just simply because I was personally taught in business. Okay, I've had multiple coaches. I've spent almost $20,000 on coaches last year alone, and everybody says the same thing. Okay, and these guys make millions of dollars. Everybody says the same thing. Either you want to be the most expensive or you want to be the lowest. But the middleman always gets cut, usually. Okay, but we'll talk about that a little later. Low ticket programs are next. This is usually $5 all the way up to about $80. Now, I've seen people make millions of dollars with this approach because you can serve a lot of people. However, it takes more work, more people to make a certain amount of money, whatever your goal is. And of course, we got consulting, which is a per hour type of thing where you get on the phone with people. I'm not the biggest fan of that, simply because, of course, we're trying to get away from trading hours for dollars. But some people, you're not going to be able to avoid this. Why? Because consulting may be a part of what you do. I have people who are like dating coaches or, like marital or premarital counselors, things like that. You have to do the hour hustle. Okay, so you got to do that per hour thing because they need you to be there. So I have seen people leverage it, but most of the time you have to show up. And then next we got supplements, clothing, and kind of specialty items. What I mean by specialty items is t-shirts. I could sell these. This is a specialty item. All right, this is like a tripod that I use. I could literally buy these for, I don't know, I can buy them for wholesale, maybe 10, 20 bucks. These sell on Amazon for $100. So that's a pretty good margin. If you pay 20 bucks for each one, you sell them for $100. That's $80 per thing. If you sell 100 of those, they just made $8,000. Okay, so that's pretty good. So this is kind of how it works. Okay, you get used to doing certain things. We'll talk about those. So to break down the high ticket coaching once again, $3,000 to about $100,000 is usually considered high ticket coaching. The most that I've personally been able to charge and consistently get is it's about $5,500. Okay, so I've had a few people pay a little bit more than that, but $5,500 is kind of like my sweet spot of the high ticket coaching. I'll be honest, it's much easier to work with people who do the high ticket coaching because if somebody hands you $5K, they're just all ears. And usually it's something about it. Usually the people who can actually afford to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for your services. I was gonna say something else. For your services, usually these people tend to be a little more chill. They're more absorb. They absorb what you're saying. They're not gonna. It's just people just get on your nerves when they feel like, oh, what's gonna be, what does the program entail, and what about this, and they pick your program apart. Well, these people, the high ticket people who can afford the high ticket, they don't do that. Most of those people are very chill. They pay you the money and they say, okay, well, let's see what you got. Okay, but they expect some good stuff from you, but they're very easy to work with. Of course, another pro is you don't have to work with many people. So let's just say if we set goals, I always suggest you set a goal, financial goal. Let's just say if your financial goal was $21,000 a month. All right, now for some of you, this sounds like a lot. For some of us, maybe not so much, but I've seen people make hundreds of $1,000s a month by using this same system. So for you, if yours was $21,000 a month, what we would do is we would just do the simple math. How many people, let's say you're charging $3,000 per person, how many people do you need each month to pay you $3,000? And what we would simply do is we just divide 3 by 21. That gets you 7 people. If you can get 7 people a month to pay you $3,000, you will make $21,000 a month. And it sounds very easy, but it takes some skill. Okay, you have to know how to do certain things because you can't just knock on somebody's door or see somebody online and say, "Hey, give me $3,000 and let's work." It takes some work. It takes some trust. People have to like and know, or I'm saying it different, know, like, and trust you before they buy. So especially for $3,000. But this is how we do the math. Of course, we got higher margins because 9 times out of 10, it'll only take you a few $100 a month for apps, and if you're doing Trainerize or whatever, it'll only take you a few months of apps to actually get the things you need, the tools you need to serve your high ticket clients. So I use things like Voxer, and we're gonna get into like different apps. I use things like Voxer, Trainerize. Also, I use a video service, which basically we can like share video screens, almost like FaceTime, but it's much better. It's called Zoom. These are some of the things I use for my high ticket coaching. We'll get into that a little bit later. But some of the cons when it comes to, went the wrong way. I don't know why that happened. Okay. Now, some of the cons we're talking about when it comes to high ticket coaching is some of the cons that we're talking about when it comes to high ticket coaching is the longer process. Okay, it's a very long sales process from the minute that they come in the door or come in your portal, your online space. I usually suggest having a landing page, which I'll actually share in this video and maybe some more. I'll share my actual funnels that's like proven to make, it's made me 6 figures, proven to make 6 figures. And basically you can just plug your stuff in instead of having to recreate a funnel. I'll just share mine with you. You can plug your stuff in and go from there. The longer process basically comes down to when they come in your funnel, you have to kind of educate them on what should keep them here. Why should I sign up for your email list? Which I always suggest you start an email list. Why should I sign up for that? Why should I do this? Why should I do that? What is going to keep them in the door? Because it takes I think it's like 5 seconds to get somebody's attention. And then outside of that, they're gone if you don't get their attention. So the longer sales process comes from, maybe them buying something cheaper, like they may buy or get a free program or free newsletter, I don't know. And then eventually, after they've gone through your process and really, grown to like you, then they're not gonna sign a form for $3,000. No. You get them on the phone, okay? So it's a longer process. So not only do you have to take them through, maybe emails and a bunch of, crazy stuff to really get them to see that you know what you're talking about, but you also have to then get them on the phone and possibly talk to them, or not possibly, you're going to have to talk to them. That's just hands down. That's how you sell high ticket coaching. No, I don't know of anybody who sold high ticket coaching without getting on the phone. If you don't get on the phone, I can almost guarantee you every time nobody is going to sit and fill out an application and willingly pay $3,000 for coaching. Okay, I don't know anybody who's done that. Next, of course, is you may need a team. And basically I say that because even I hired a team to help me with this process of setting up calls and doing all these things. And of course, it just helps. It helps you as a high ticket coach because honestly, let's just be honest here. If you were to call somebody or if you were to apply to speak to someone who you're thinking about doing a coaching program with, if they answer their own phone, you're probably gonna think like, oh, is this person even worth this much money? Like, you should have somebody else answering the phone for you, and that goes deeper into what I talk about later in the program. You know, you got to focus on what you do best, and what you do best is usually persuading people to buy into whatever you're selling. Okay, so of course with us it's training, nutrition, things like that. You are good, or you should be good at that part, and you should be good at the thing itself that you're selling, which is the coaching, the motivating, the nutrition, the training. You're good at that, so that is what you focus on. You don't need to be answering a lot of frivolous calls, things like that. So people expect, believe it or not, they expect to speak to what we call a gatekeeper. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you have someone. It could be your mom, your aunt, your sister, your brother, whoever it is. They also have things like VAs, which is a virtual assistant. It's like $300-400 a month, who can answer your phone calls and schedule your calls for you to actually get on and answer. So it's pretty good, but that's kind of one of the cons because you have to know how to develop a team. Next is you got to give enough value. So when it comes to giving value, that is something is huge. Okay, if you're offering or charging, I use $3,000 because it's the lowest point, but some people use 5,000, 10,000. What's going to be the value there? So that is the biggest part. Can the person, if somebody comes in your program, what your goal is to make sure as they leave the program or as they finish the program, they should be saying, you know what, that was worth it. That program was worth $3,000. That program was worth $5,000. I learned so much that I would pay $5,000 again. That's what you want to say. You don't want them saying, like, that wasn't worth $3,000. That was maybe a $200 program. Or that's kind of what you want to make sure people are saying that. And of course, everybody's not going to say it because they don't value your time like you should be valuing your time. So it's all about perception of time, but more than anything, it's about the value of what you present. Then of course, it may require high ticket coaching may require advanced sales skills, and what that means is you have to know buyer psychology. Okay, which is on down in the programming. Buyer psychology, which says you have to show someone something 7 times before they buy. You have to know how to ask the right questions and different scripts, things like that, which I have a script that I may share with you all that I use. It is very clutch. Actually, we close about 58%, almost 60% of our clients who come in. So that means if I'm selling, let's just say $1,000 program. If I'm selling $1,000 program and I do my Facebook ads and everything and I get 100 people to come in and we close 58% of those people, that means 58 people are going to pay $1,000. And if I get those 100 people to come in a month, I can make $58,000 in 1 month. So that's kind of how it works. Of course, I don't sell $1,000 programs much anymore because I'm kind of getting away from that and I'm doing either super high ticket or nothing at all. If you can't pay me $5,000-10,000, I'm probably not going to work with you. Okay, so that's what's going on for me. Next, we got middle price programs. Some of the same stuff is just flipped. So for this one, some of the pros is the fact that it's a shorter sales process versus the long process in the high ticket. Reason why it's cheaper. People are willing to pay $250 for a decent sized or decent structured program. There's no team needed for the middle price programs usually. Of course, there's not much pressure to add as much value. And I know that sounds weird, like, oh, so you're just going to throw some stuff together. No, it's not really what we're saying. It's just when it comes to a $500 product versus a $3,000 product, you have to find out how to bridge that gap. And how are you going to create that value, for somebody to say, okay, I see why, that was $3,000 versus, well, I only paid $500 for it. So And I know that sounds weird because $500 is a lot of money to some people. Let's see. So going down to the next one, you're going to be able to help more people. Not as much as the low ticket, but you're going to help more than if you were to work with high ticket. So middle price programs, I would say this will be more so where you would sell, depending on what you want to make, you would sell anywhere from 20 to 30 a month. That usually, for instance, if you're selling a $500 program, you sell 20 of those. It's not bad. Okay, you're looking at about $10,000 a month, which is great. So I would look into doing something. Just do the numbers, see what you need to make. Of course, this works better for your upsells and your funnels. I use upsells, and of course, we'll talk about upsells and funnels and all this good old stuff later in the program. I have my itinerary here, so we're going to do all of that. And then, of course, this requires less of your time. And the reason why that is because you don't have to create much value. And usually when you're creating value, the value is going to come from you and showing up. So it's like, oh, we do a video chat. That's you showing up. This one, you won't have to do a video chat. You put a 12-week program together, throw some good videos together with it, get the app, they're good to go. You might have to text them every now and then, but that's it. So this program works really good if you want to leverage yourself and get out there and work with more people while still being able to travel and do other things. So these are the cons. You may have a harder time working with different clients. Okay, now the reason why I say that is because the cheaper you get, and it kind of gives me a headache just thinking about it. The cheaper you get in the programs. So if I'm at $5,000 and then I come down to 500, usually people are going to pick you. They're going to be very picky and, oh, what does this entail? Why am I buying this much? What's all included in the program? I get these questions all the time. Anytime I drop my programs under $1,000, people just seem to be very squirmy and they're worth. It's almost not worth dropping the program that low. And I've seen this with $20 programs. What all does it include? And why am I paying $20 for a program? And da da da. It's very it can be a headache, just to be honest with you. But but of course you get to help more people, and it's needed. I'll say that. Of course, with this next one, more clients are needed, like we stated earlier. So that's kind of a con. And then, of course, you're going to have to get really good with advertising and copy. And what copy is basically the wording in your advertising. So let's just say if you have a 12-week boot camp and you put, hey, everybody, come check out my 12-week boot camp. That is ad copy. And that wouldn't be very good ad copy. But ad copy just means you say things the right way. And it's a very good business for that itself. A good copywriter, and this is somebody who just makes emails for you. A good copywriter charges anywhere from $250 an hour to about $200,000 for an email campaign. And that could be like 8 emails. So I can make you 8 emails and charge you $200,000. That's how important ad copy is. Okay, and we'll get into that a little later. So, low ticket programs. This is the cream of the crop. This is where a lot of people live because it's easier. You don't have to be a salesman, quote unquote. Some people hate to sell. This is the one where it's a little bit easier. Of course, you can help people who are quote unquote less fortunate, or people who just mismanage money. That's what I say. If you can't afford a $250 program, but you can afford a $50 program or $40 program, 9 times out of 10, you're just mismanaging your money. Why do I say that? Because one, you have a cell phone, which means you saw me on the internet. That's the only way you could get my program. So you got a cell phone. Okay, you probably have, all kind of other stuff. You just mismanaged your money, and now you can only afford $50 versus $250. So that's the thing with that one. Then we get down into, of course, you set it and forget it. This is the good part about it. So once you make like a paper program, let's just say if I was to put something down on paper, once you make that program and you make the videos or the pictures for it, that's it. You set it. and you forget it. And you can just continue to sell it out, okay? So if you got a $20 program, you just continue to sell it. Now, of course, that gets into the cons because now we're talking about selling, let's just say a $10 program. I want to go $10. Let's just say you're selling a $10 program, but you need to make $10,000 a month. You have to sell 1,000 of these smaller programs to make 10 grand a month. Now, I don't know about you, but selling 1,000 of anything is not easy. Okay, so of course, if you have a bigger following, which we're going to get into how to grow your following here soon. If you have a bigger following, people who are engaged and who trust and like you, and they see something that's cheaper, they will be willing to buy a $10 program more than a $200 program or a $1,000 program. So it will be a little easier, especially with a bigger audience. But if you're walking around with 1,000 followers, you're not going to sell 1,000 copies unless you use Facebook ads, Google ads, which we're going to kind of talk about those, and I'm going to touch more on Facebook ads in the program because that's what I work with. Outside of that, of course, I just talked about it. Marketing and advertising is needed. People tend to, people tend to think, and that's supposed to be think versus thing. They tend to think that it's more cheap, it's not good. So it's like, why is this only $10? People are very skeptical. Oh, this is only $10. It must not be good. It must be cookie cutter. I don't know why people are so afraid of cookie cutter. Just being a trainer, cookie cutter is great for a lot of people because if you're just starting out, you just need a cookie cutter food program, cookie cutter workout. And of course, people want something that's tailored to them, but they don't want to pay the tailored price. So you're going to run into that a lot. So let's go ahead and move on. Supplements, clothing, and other things. Okay, and this is the specialty things: t-shirts, whatever. Pros, it's going to be easier to get a monthly or repeat sales, which means if you're selling supplements, people are going to run out of supplements. They're going to want to buy more supplements. They're going to keep going. Of course, same thing with clothing. If they like a t-shirt, they're going to come back and buy another t-shirt. Or buy one for their mom, buy one for family members. Same thing, the focus is on your product and not you. So people won't necessarily come to you and say, oh, what is in this program? Or what is in this? Or what is in that? They're going to focus on the supplement. So they'll go to the supplement ingredient list versus going to you. So it's a little bit better to me because I don't have to answer so many DMs and emails. So that's one of the really good things there. Of course, it helps your brand because 9 times out of 10, if you got a clothing line or if you have something that has like your logo. So I'm wearing Nike. So I'm helping Nike out right now. But normally I'd have my vegan trainer arm on my shirt or something that helps my brand. Same thing with supplements. If I have a supplement brand, that makes me look like a boss. Okay, I just wrote a book not too long ago. Same thing. This helps my brand. So this can be classified as other. Why? Because this book has been made. It's done. And now I sell them for $10 on Amazon. Every time they sell, I make 8 of those $10. So if I sell 10,000 copies of this book times $8, I just made $80,000. So there's ways to do it using certain things like this. So it helps your brand a lot. Cons are, of course, it can take more money to get started. And what I mean by that is supplements are not cheap. I'm going to say that again. Supplements are not cheap. Supplements can take anywhere from $10,000, $20,000 to start up. The reason why is a lot of supplement companies want a big order before they actually make you something. So the only reason I know about that, of course, because I own a supplement company. So yeah, there's some things there that can kind of get a little crazy. I found a way to get through that, but I still had to put 10 grand into my supplement company. So it's crazy, if you're trying to start that up. Clothing, not so much. There's so many print-on-demand companies now where you can spend $100 and start up a clothing line. It's crazy. You just have to know what you're doing. Okay, that's what you're here for. Of course, you may need a team for this because getting supplements shipped out and making sure you're answering emails and sending fulfillment emails and things like that, you're going to need a team. You're not going to be able to do this on your own. And if you try to do it on your own, you are probably going to stay small. You're not going to be able to scale up, or you're going to fail. Those are usually the only two options. There's nobody who's doing their own thing but grew to bigger levels. So definitely going to need a team. And it may require some advanced sales skills once again. Now, of course, you need the solutions. And honestly, the biggest solution is just to find out what works for you. If you can do that, you can sit down, make out your list of things you have to have as far as money, how much money you want to make, how much time you want to give, how much value you can add to a certain client. And once you get that list made, then you can decide which one is your solution. So I can give you the things and kind of, just a little bit, kind of show you which way to go, but it's ultimately up to you to decide how much value you have in here and in here to provide, and how much value you can put into a supplement company or something else to actually get going. So that's the solution. You have to figure it out on your own. Hope you enjoyed this video, and talk to you soon.